Let's talk about the Aziz Ansari news coverage and the aspect that almost no one is discussing that we all need to be discussing. Here's that aspect. It's called mutuality. See, what's happening right now is people are reading about this case, and if you haven't read about it, you can look it up online. Aziz Ansari, that's A-Z-I-Z, last name Ansari, A-N-S-A-R-I. You look that up, and you can learn about that. But what people are doing is saying, they're arguing like, is this sexual assault? No, it's sexual assault. No, this is somebody being comfortable. This is normal dating and sex. And they're having these fights back and forth, these debates back and forth, and we're missing the discussion we should be having. Here's the discussion we should be having. That all sexual intimacy should be mutually wanted. Mutually wanted. Now, the reason I'm stressing on this is that's different than somebody just giving permission. And this is a really important factor that we need to discuss that rarely is discussed. And that is, in the past, when it came to sexual assault, everybody focused on the word consent as meaning permission. I made the same mistake myself when I began in this work. In fact, in my very first book that I wrote, I used the word permission in describing consent. I hate the word now. I do not do that anymore, and here is why. See, when you focus on did you get that person's permission, you are not at all taking into account, did the person want to do this? That's a very different question. Now, when I'm having this discussion, people start to freak out sometimes and say, wait, are you saying that in the law it says mutual needs to be? The law doesn't say that. It's part of our problem, and we need to change that. We need to change the definition of consent, because here's the problem. If I think that I only need your permission, then people will use coercion. They will use pressure. They will use slow badgering or using guilt to get somebody from a no to a yes. And then they'll say, well, I got to the yes, so all's good. I got permission. That's what happens. Instead of understanding, is this mutual? Do all partners want to do this, want to engage in this? And if it's not mutual, then this shouldn't happen. And to tell you how common sense this is, that we should already be living this way, and sadly, we don't teach it, but we should, is ask any parent in the world, when your child gets to the age where they're ready to be sexually intimate. Now, some people are listening going, well, that would be as an adult. And so when that happens, for whatever that is, depending on what culture you're coming from, where you come from, do your hope that your child only engages in sexual activity that they absolutely want to engage in, that is mutual for all partners. And almost every loving, caring parent is going to say, well, of course that's what I'd want for my child, because that's common sense. And that's what we need to apply when it comes to sexual intimacy here. What is the ideal? And that's how we should operate from. The ideal of what consent means is that it's mutual. And so from now on, when we hear a case, we should say to ourselves, was it mutual? And if you're saying, well, how would I know if it's mutual? That means there's no pressure. That means that both people are enthused about engaging in this behavior, which means you can easily talk about it because you're both sexually mature and comfortable to have that conversation, and at least ready to engage in sexual activity. Because if you're sitting here going, well, I can't talk about it, well, that would indicate another issue that we're not talking about on this video, about if you can't talk about it, you're probably not ready. But that's a separate issue. The key is that it's mutual, which means you should be able to ask your partner, would you love to do this? Notice I didn't say, can I do this? Will you do this for me? Because I might get a yes out of that. It doesn't mean you want to. Would you love to do this? What would you love to experience? These are actual words that we can use in these moments that are sexy, passionate, fun, and all about consent and mutuality.